Photoshop. So we're gonna open Adobe Photoshop. So this is the very famous 2D software for images, art, illustration. And we're gonna start with this software creating a new project. So here, when you create a new project, you have this window opening with like photo, print, art and illustration, web, mobile, film and video. So we want to go into art and illustration, select the 2000 by 2000 pixel grid and create. Here on the right, you can see the color mode, the number of bits by channel, the resolution. This is like a normal package. You can put a name on the project and call this project 01. So Adobe is a very good solution for artists who want to have a complementary 2D package. So it's pretty nice to have the subscription per month they give, and you're gonna have access to all the software. So that's pretty nice. So here we are in a fresh windows of Photoshop. In the left, as you can see, you have all the tools. The move tool with little videos showing you how to use those. Lasso tool, crop, and etc. So we're gonna take a look at a bunch of those ones, but I really want you to take a look of all of those to understand what kind of tool you can use on this software. On the top here, you have the classic file opening, exporting, scripts, edit, copy pasting, some stuff about the image, layers, filters and stuff. So this is what you're gonna use kind of mainly in the software. Here is the canvas with the image you're gonna work on, name of the project, resolution, how much did you zoom on it. You see 40%, 100% and stuff like this. And in the right you have the history, so what you're doing in the project. You can come back to the stuff you're doing here. You can see every action you did on the stuff here. And on the right you have the layers with the name of the layer. So if you double click on this, you remove the protection, channels and path. Okay, so here we are in the channel. So we are on the layer 1. I'm doing a new layer here and I press B, and I can, pressing B, I go on the brush mode, and I just want you to left click and just paint on your canvas. Okay, this is one of the best stuff for painting as well. So you can have a tablet, use the brush tool, and here on the top you have access to size of the brush, hardness, and different type of preset here. Maybe you want to use like ultimate charcoal pencil like this, and you have like something more like charcoal. Maybe you want something like chunky charcoal like this, you see. So all these brushes gonna help you to give a specific type of design and stuff. So just experiment, have a look. Here you have all the mode of selection. So now it's normal, it can be multiplication, darken, lighten, so all the incrustation and the fusion mode. Here the classic ones, opacity, so less opacity, you see now it's going less gray like this. It's by 100 by default. The flow, the smoothing, and this. So if you want the shortcut for the size, it's alt and right click, and you can like increase this circle, and the circle is the brush. Okay, smaller, you see it's gonna take a bit of time. And if you want like smaller brush like this, and you can see here smaller brush. Okay, so it's alt and right click. And if you want to play with the hardness, you have here the hardness of the stuff. So if you want, you can, you see the opacity of your object. Okay, so this is kind of the brush stuff. We're just gonna delete this and create a new one. So here you can put some names on the layers. You can as well like delete the layer with here, and you see now we have, so when we have this kind of square, like it means it's transparent. So if I do this and paint here, this is like transparent, so when you're gonna project you can see behind, you know. So that's important to know. This pattern is just saying this is transparent at this point, you know. And if you want to fill it, you can create a pattern here, use the bucket here, paint bucket and just fill it with black, or you can press X, changing the color here and just going to black. So here you can see the shortcuts, D for the default color, set the color, change the color here is X, D for the default, X or painting. So let's do some brush here, and now I want to move the brush. You see I'm moving the whole brush, but if I do another layer here, I paint, let's say here, I do another layer and I paint in white like this. Now we can see you can move the layer of the brush here using V or the move tool here. So move tool is very important. It's what you're gonna use mainly to move the tool in your software. Okay, so press V, you have the cross here and you're just gonna move the stuff. If you have the auto selection, you're gonna select exactly what you're selecting for. So if I select A, I'm selecting the background, so you move the background. If you select A, you select the black paint, here this painting, and here this one. Okay, so everything is movable as a layer here. And if you type Shift T, Control T, you go to the selection mode to move, and you can as well rescale, stretch, and play with the tool to, like, you see, move and stretch the layer. Okay, and press enter to accept and confirm the new layer. Here, as you see, you have the eye, and you can remove but the eye, do another layer, and here we go with a white canvas. Okay, we still have the layer here hidden, so here it's behind. So what it means is like this layer is on top. So if I put this on top of this layer, I'm gonna have the black stuff happening here. I can move it on the circle, and you see the order is very important on the layer because it means is on top of the hierarchy, so it's like adding the colors on top of each other. Okay, so this is for the move tool. You can see the rectangle mark tool, so you create a rectangle with drag and dropping, and here same concept. You can be here, press V and move what is inside the rectangle. Okay, same, you can do like selection of circle selections, you can do like little row, the lasso. So lasso is like if I want maybe to cut in between here, so I have this now, I press V, and now as you see I'm cutting the brush in two based on this selection. So the highlight you see like this is the selection, it means what you got selected to move with. Okay, so this is kind of the first thing. So here we are, and after we have the crop tool. So the crop tool is to resize the image. So if you see here, it's the transform, and if I go and scale here and press enter, I'm gonna change the new resolution, and this is kind of the new stuff you're gonna use now in terms of workspace, So you can press Ctrl Z to come back. You can come back as well here on the hierarchy. As you see, I'm coming back to what I was selecting, splitting, cropping my project. Okay, nice object. I can press space to pan in the window, and you have this end like showing a flat end. And yeah, so you can crop here, you can select the color as well. If you want to select here, paint, and maybe you do some color here. So if you press here, you have access to all the color palette, beautiful colors, and you can just like do some green here. And if you want, you're gonna merge with some, maybe some purple here. And after, if I do like some opacity, it's gonna merge the color. So when you eyedrop here, I'm just gonna take this new mix of color we can see here, put it on the palette. So when you brush, you're now painting with this mix of green and purple. Okay, so this is for the palette. Here you have the spot healing brush tool. So imagine you have something here a bit too sharp and you want to just heal it, so make it more smoother with the rest of the element. You're gonna just select a good size, just do the contouring of what we want to clean, and now it's gonna try to add a bunch of stuff. It's an algorithm, so as you can see, it's not really working for now. It's trying to bring some of this, so we're just gonna reset, and we're gonna just open a random picture. So open a picture of yours, let's open, I'm just gonna open, let's say this this one. So it's one of my video about what I'm releasing picture. So I want, for example, to remove this part, this section here. I can go here on the stamp, clone stamp, and I can stamp here and just, you know, play in the corridor and just add, you see, an arm. So it's like stamping this part here. So stamp is a way to like copy elements. So when you are in the stamp tool, you press Alt, you have like the selection here, you select the area you want to stamp, and after you go in. Okay, so if you want some white here, something here, you know, so here I'm just stamping everything outside. So if I take the Pinocchio guy here, I can put it here, you know what I mean? So this is what is the stamp. Pretty useful to like clean some stuff. If I want to clean maybe the end here and I don't want end anymore in this section, I can do this, and maybe it can look like the end is behind the seat. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff you want to do with the stamp tool. Let's do another stuff just to continue showing you the process. So we're just gonna redo some paint. We're gonna do press G for the bucket and just fill the bucket with this green. You can maybe fill with a light blue just to have something a bit different. Do another layer here, press B, and from here just do a bunch of stuff. So we're just gonna first do a pencil tool just to see. So pencil is gonna be just lines, you know, so really good, is 1 pixel stuff, so that's gonna be useful. And after we have as well a color replacement tool, mixer brush tool, and stuff like this. Okay, so this for it. Here you have the blur tool. If you want to blur this line, for example, you see now it's like blurry in the line. So if you look wise, it's like it's clean and it's blur. So it's the blur tool here. And you have here the dodge tool, so giving extra lightness. So if I dodge this blue one, it's gonna be clearer or darker if I press Control. So it's pretty good when you are like in a picture. If I, for example, open this picture, I'm here on the eye and I want to add some light here. I go in the dodge tool here and I just dodge the eye and add some brightness, see? And now my eyes looks like I'm really high, but that's the point of like this kind of tool. You want to dodge it to have something more, you know. Okay, so that's the point of this software. Okay, it's to touch image, move stuff. Imagine I want to put my head on the side. I use the lasso, so this one, L. I just do a contouring here using my tablet or my mouse. I do left click, layer via copy, so now it's gonna copying my head, and I can move my head and I have like a second head here. I can take control left click and duplicate the head, and now I have multiple head of mine in the same process. So this is the kind of stuff you want to learn to do in Photoshop. So have a move with the light tool, have a move with the lasso, you know, just to do some project, some cleaning. And we're gonna have a look now about other stuff like color correction and stuff like this. So what happened is, like, imagine I'm here and I want to have a specific color correction. So I'm gonna go on here, this little sphere here, and you have a lot of effect to put on the image. So let's go for hue saturation. We want maybe to saturate a bit more the image. Want maybe to change this to another type of color, you see, if you want me to be purple. And you can play with the darkness, brightness. Okay, so this kind of stuff add on top of this layer is affecting all the layers. You see, if I do Alt and I click, I have this little arrow here, and now the effect is just gonna affect this face, basically this layer just behind. And if you want, you can remove this, and now it's affecting everything. So it's the same for all the kind of stuff. If you have exposure, you have to have high exposure, and you do like this is here, and you do this, and now the exposure is just affecting this head. Okay, so here you have a bunch of stuff you can use. You can evade the image, You can maybe use some photo filter, color lookup, and all kind of stuff you want to use for the principle. Okay, so let's have a break here because it's a lot to ingest, but just to start from the beginning, this is the new here stuff. You create your stuff here, layers on the right, plus here to create a new layer, and name it layering. Press B for the brush, just have fun. This is in the pencil tool. You go into the brush tool, brush it here. You want to move what you did, you can move it like this. You want to resize, Control T, you can resize your stuff, press enter. And yeah, that's kind of all the tools you're gonna use at the beginning to learn how to use Photoshop. So next time I'm gonna just show you some more case of study on Photoshop and introduce you to some other type of work. Okay, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.